We're live. All right. Let's see. Looking professorial this evening. So it's asking me to do some crazy stuff. What does it want? No, I don't want to learn to close. Go away. Welcome. All right. Should work. Hello. Oh, it's like when I used to teach. There it is. Yeah. Makes you want to teach a class. Oh, no. Never again. Never again. Smoky quartz. All right. So, told some folks that, yeah, I mean, just I haven't gone live often, so I'm just too lazy to do a Zoom or anything like that. So I figure this will serve. This will serve as an update. So the last time I was on was with Erica, and we talked about all that stuff that was going down upstairs. And actually, Jesse's in bed right now. I wonder if I could turn it around and see. Can you see that now? Is it Jesse? There he is. I don't know. Jesse, you're in bed. I don't know if I can see Jesse. Can we? There he is. There he is. There's your man. All right. Jesse. Cool. All right. He's looking at me like, what in the hell? What in the ever-loving God save us is going on? So anyway, yeah. Oh, somebody. Oh, man. I try to get this to work. All right. Luby. Hi. How are y'all doing? How are you getting on? I love that guy. Garen. He's awesome. All right. So it is St. Patrick's Day. And yours truly has a PhD in Irish studies. So it's like, that's why I figured, what the heck? You know what I mean? Let's do something tonight. Right. Have some crack while crack and Irish. Not the same. Those who know, those who don't. Now you know. When you're in Ireland, people having good is gonna have some crack, have some fun, right? Yeah, I used to spend summers in Ireland, renting an apartment at Trinity College. That was awesome. Oh my God, yeah. You never want to leave there. I love Ireland. So yeah, it's probably, of course, the weirdest thing is Ireland, their name for Ireland is Éire. Éire. Coming out, I can't make that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. So anyway, getting back to galactic shit, right? There's that's pretty much what's going on up there. So Lou, if you ever want to join in with something, let's chew the fat, right? Put that in your pipe and smoke it, kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been pretty wild. Hoping y'all haven't been having a wild time like we've been having. So I tried to promote the updates that we did with Erica, with her husband, and what kind of, the maneuvering that's going on. And YouTube didn't allow me to promote that. And the reason I wanted to promote it was to reach some more people with their algorithms. And they're like, no, it goes against community standards. Like, fuck is that? What do you mean? They're like, yeah, it's like disturbing. Like, you didn't have any trouble when I gave you money for the promoting of the one that we did with Erica on her being raped and all that stuff. Like that didn't go against community standards, but those stuff we were talking about. So yeah, we're being shadow banned. Everybody is, we're being targeted. You see Michael Sala, he got targeted. And that's what we've always been saying. Oh yeah, Garamagat. Yeah. Oh, that's thank you. Tafalcherut. All right. So yeah, I mean, let's face it. So I gotta watch what I do on here now because they're definitely up my ass. So they're probably getting me for swearing now. It's like oh my God. What I thought I'll do is maybe promote this one and then link it back so that more people can find the stuff that we were talking about with what's going on upstairs. So yeah, we keep getting some better news on that. I have to dive in a little bit more myself. I've just been totally out of it. I got hit real bad after that, and ended up, having no contact with anyone, no telepathy, no contact. I just said, no, I can't do it. I don't want to have anything to do with anybody. And it's just really, really bad. They throw me in this depression, and with like anhedonia and like I feel like I'm in a can. So that's been happening most of my life, and it gets very tiresome. And I know some of y'all have the same experiences, and it's why is this still happening? I don't know. They're supposed to take it down, so that's why we're going to say that, right? They did not. They're not taking it down. People are still getting attacked. Um, they still haven't taken control of the media. There's a lot of weird glitches that you wonder why they're still there, or what their purpose is to leave them there. And much gratitude to those folks who made comments about what they hope to happen. And yeah, stuff's got to get going. And we'll probably do it. I know I said we should do a separate video, and I gotta watch what I say. Like I said, maybe do a separate video on some of the stuff. All right, Vincent, my man, Vincent. Yeah, you don't enjoy anything. Oh yeah, no, that's that's it. Oh, they did. That's anhedonia for you. Oh yeah, no, that's why I try not to post. Like it's really hard for me, so I don't do. Like I'm actually back. Last night the gang got together, and I started feeling better yesterday, and the gang got together and kicked some butt up with the guys who were attacking me, and it cleared up. So my husband and some friends got involved, and yeah, so like I said, man, we were having some fun, letting our hair down, a couple of drinks, hanging out with the reptilians, you know what I'm saying? And you guys fucked it up. Yeah. But it's a tax, and that's the thing. It's just like, why? Why is that still going on? Why is that still going on? But maybe we should do something about that, like, because it's so different from because you'd probably watch on these different channels like the self-help stuff and what to do when you have depression and all that crap, and it's like it doesn't work for us because we're in a different situation. We're being targeted. We're being like mind controlled. And what I do when this happens, because like you guys, right, it's not your first rodeo. So yeah, definitely, share. And I feel like I'm teaching a class. Like this is so like when I was teaching. So it's definitely, I wish we could all talk together. So share in the chat, anything you want to talk about and add, and I can just, definitely highlight that, about how you deal with these kind of situations when they come up, with the targeting. And of course, if anybody needs help too, we're here for that, to help you with that, to get that stuff off you, because it's not fun. It's not. So yeah, you read, people don't get it, like, unless you're with us and you understand what it's like to experience this kind of stuff. And yeah, so anyway, I got it kicked off again. They usually hit me a couple times a month. So upstairs is still negotiating, right, in this long standing chess game about what's going to be done. My suspicions now, because I've been kind of tapping in a little bit today because I'm helping somebody else, and I ended up going up, kind of seeing what's happening and telepathing, and gonna have a special night, back with, I'm able to connect with Ika again, and we'll spend some time together tonight. We haven't been together for over a week. I say week, almost 2 weeks. I had to break that off for a bit. It's so with some of the negotiations on the envoys and what's going to happen for us, I suspect they're going to separate out us from the other Terrans at this point. I wonder if this is one of our gang. It might be. Is it? Who's bothered? Let's see who this is. Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, it's my friend. Yeah, I'm gonna tell her if she's around. Come on. Oops. Come on. We are live. We are type in English here. Live. All right. It's so complicated now with the disclosure process. We have Vincent again. I see lots of blue and also white flashes of light. Just wondering if they're spirit guides or something nasty. How do you feel about that, Vincent, when you get those flashes? It's all about, do they feel okay, or do you have things that happen after. It's all about your intuition and how it feels because spirit guides, are they? I don't know. Sometimes they probably are. Sometimes they're not. So it's just how you feel about that. Same thing goes for I do it as do a I always tell people do a practice runs. People always oftentimes watch other podcasts. I don't watch that many. I watch other podcasts, but I don't watch a lot of the ET stuff. Oh no, Anita. She's I told you, come on, we're here. There she is. Awesome. So join us here as we negotiate this swamp of existence. Um, so yeah, what you do is practice. So go on, watch different podcasts. You know, Michael Sala's got a bunch of them, and there's other people. Lily Nova brings people on, and whoever brings people on, right? Is it Wisdom of North or something? That's a great one. Go on Wisdom of North for sure. That's a party on there. Anyway, so when you're watching it, like just kind of go by your feelings. So like when people are saying stuff that resonates, you're gonna be like, yeah, that just it goes along smooth, right? And then when they go off the rails, you're gonna feel it in your body. And I like watching Michael Salla with this because actually Alex Collier doesn't have too many people on, but I did watch one of his special like, oh, here comes the cat webinars, and you could kind of see him like at times when he wants not to not be rude, but when the people go off the rails, you can see him kind of like, I don't get that, you know. So when you're starting to get that sensation of like this it doesn't feel right, then that's no, it's not real. Um, it's just like when everybody says they're talking to Pleiadians or like non-physical Pleiadians. Like, what's a non-physical? That's a dead Pleiadian. I've talked to dead Pleiadians. They're ghosts, right? It's like, um, but yeah. So we got see, yeah. So maybe it's because I'm so depressed. Yeah, I mean, if you're really down like that for a long period, my suspicion is that someone's on you. Um, so yeah, you know, you can contact us. I don't know, Vincent, if you got my email. We can definitely try to get that stuff off you. One of the things with getting that stuff off is that the arseholes keep putting it back on. So it has to do with once it's off, you getting yourself out in nature if you can as much as possible, because that's the best way to kind of go mindless for a little bit and just be in the moment with all the beautiful stuff like trees and all. So I always tell people how to hug a tree. You don't hug a tree like this, you hug a tree back. So you lean up against back of it and you hug it that way. So that's what I recommend for that, because it's really like our depressions aren't like regular depressions, you know, that we're being targeted, we're being mind controlled. So it's really difficult. And I can't say a lot about that, like what not to do on here, because they'll get pissed off and take me down. So yeah, yeah, right, right. You're just gonna, oh no, Anita, I messed your evening. See, it's dark here now. It's 7:45. As I said, Jesse's already, where'd the cat go? Cat took off. Jesse's in bed. He's probably wondering what's going on. He's just giving me looks. He hasn't crowed yet. So but definitely Vincent, you know, get in touch with us. Um if you need my email or anything, I think I know my email is on the last podcast we did on what's happening upstairs with deliverance. It says deliverance. My email's on there, and we'll try to get that shit off you. It's yeah, it's real and it stinks and it really like affects you and all that kind of stuff. So I tell people again, it's nothing. Just be careful with things like spirit guides and like, you know, if you feel good with them around, then that's probably a spirit guide. But if it's kind of weird, then it isn't. Um, if they give you weird like religious names, those kinds of things are all red flags. That's the handlers. They're still I said like, why are they still handlers? But you have power over that. So what else am I gonna say? Yeah, that was last week. No, it was this week. I said, "It was this week, actually." Like, I just gotta, because I was talking to Anita, I'm like, "Dude, like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning." And I said, like, "I'm not telepathing with anybody up there. I'm like, done. This is freaking, I'm done with you guys, you know?" So, like, 1 o'clock in the morning, I wait, what the heck? You know, they're banging at my door, basically, right? You know, and they're like, I couldn't, because I didn't want to connect with them, so I didn't really see who it was. And they were like, you know, they wanted to get through to me. So they were, I could tell they were a hell. It looked like it was a woman and two men. Um, and I'm guessing it was Ardana. It could have been. And I know one of them was Erica's husband, and she and Erica said the other one was Ika. So they were really like trying to get a hold of me, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. Do not, do not. I'm not telepathing with anybody. So they're like really like, God, they're like, you know, pulling their hair out, like, no, no, no. And this went on for like half an hour, and then I got another guy come through, try to come through. He looked kind of uppity, dressed real nice, like the fancy robes and stuff. And I'm like, no. I said, what do you guys don't understand? No, like, no, I'm not talking to anybody. So then I hear Council of Zagara. I'm like, oh, especially you, especially. Nope, no. Because I know like Anita stays up late, so I texted you. It's like this was like from like 1 o'clock in the morning to 1 to 2 a.m. And Jesse, like, because I didn't make this is telepathy, so I'm not making any noise. But Jesse started to make the rooster alarm call. It's like a little squee squee sound. So he knew the stuff was going on. But that was, yeah, this week, I think, wasn't it? I don't even know what date it is anymore. Actually, no, maybe no, it was last week. What like last week? It was last week. That's how bad this was. I mean, it's just literally, oh my God, no, it was last week. It's just been continuing ad nauseum over different days. Yeah, that was last week. So yeah, been back and forth with Erica and everybody, and like, just nuts. So more stuff going on upstairs on our behalf. Some positive outcomes, but I really think they're going to separate us out from the rest because the situation remains. And I've had a couple of visions with this, and I'm not sure. This is the thing with remote viewing and visions and stuff like that. You don't know what timeline you're being shown in these things. So a lot of people come on and they talk about these remote views and their visions, but you have to be careful with them because they can be altered. So I put them out there and say this is a possibility. And that's when you remote view something, you just want to consider it a possibility of what could happen. So I see right now the main issue with disclosure, and I know everybody wants this to happen. We do, right? Because we're sick and tired of this kicking the can down the road, carrot dangle, all that stuff. But what I feel is there's a lot of foot drag. Well, there's a couple of things going on upstairs, as we've already mentioned. And I think the foot dragging that's going on between like the White House government alliance, whatever you want to call them, and the upstairs elites that are in negotiation with them is because it's gonna explode down here. People aren't prepared for this stuff, and I didn't always say like this is too little, too late. I don't know why they waited so long. I think it's just people didn't know what the hell they were doing. That's my guess. And now that we have to get into a plan, because everything didn't, I don't know what they thought was going to happen. I mean, so it was more like, yeah, right. Okay, last Thursday, yeah, right. I don't know what the hell day is. Who knows? It's Monday, right? They're all the same. When you farm, every day is the same. But you're gonna have to get the entire globe to be on the same page with the rollout. How are you going to roll it out one by one? So I know the United States is in the lead with this because we were like I said, I'm so targeted right now. I have to watch what I say. But the United States was the inheritor of the NAZI party, and we were the main players with the NAZI agenda and goals. So We're kind of at we are at we are kind we're at the lead when it comes to what happens on Earth. And how do you roll out this kind of technology? You can't trickle roll out this stuff. I think they're trying to do something similar right now, but it doesn't make any sense. It's just coming out dumb because your average person isn't even paying attention. They don't even know what you're talking about. You just mentioned something like, the quantum field or Einstein-Rosen bridges, and everybody falls asleep, and that's your average human. Then you got the other ones who think, aliens are little green men, and why do we spending time with aliens and all that kind of stuff like that. And that's a real issue. I don't subscribe to this idea that the next generations are somehow going to be they're like the magic purple children who are going to bring in the golden age stuff. That's bullshit. That ain't gonna. How is that going to actually happen? Because your entire society is broken. People are desperate. They're trying to survive. People are in the worst survival mode right now than they've probably been in a long time. I'm old enough to remember growing up here in my family's house with my grandparents, and we were all simple and having a farm and everything was great, but life was good then. It was really quiet and you had everything you needed. But now I think a lot of people are really struggling with just the survival aspects of things. So like how are you gonna how are you gonna expect the next generations to lead us into this new future? Because that's who I taught, and they're a mess. Boston University just did a study, and it's not just Boston University, it's like all these different colleges, universities, whatever. They're doing studies with these people, and we have at least 40% of mental health problems. Those are recorded. So they actually do polls and ask the students and all that stuff. So they come forward with what's happening, and they're like, yeah, 40%. Those are the ones that came forward with mental health issues. And then, there's more than that. They're just not coming forward. I've seen it actually unfurl, because I've been teaching for 19 years. And I thought it was me initially, but every year it got worse and worse and worse, where the students just couldn't pay attention. They weren't grasping anything, and they're all like zoned out. And I thought it was me, like maybe change the subject. I changed subjects so many times trying to figure out what it is. How can I keep them conscious? But you're teaching zombies, like literally, like they're just zombies. And it got worse and worse and worse, but slowly it got worse. So it wasn't like overnight. And now it's impossible to teach a class. Everybody's like just gone. They're not even like, they can't even hold a conversation or interact or anything. You'll have maybe a few kids in the class, students, not kids, they're kids, but I taught high school. You have a few students in the class, they're like with it and aware, but they're also aware of what's happening with the other people, because they're all like, what the fuck's wrong with everybody? They're all in zombie mode, and they're hopeless. They're, all right, people our age, we've been through a lot of shit, but when you're 17, you should have energy. You should have like a lot of hope. You should have a lot of excitement. You should have a lot of passion. You should want to be doing stuff. And they don't have anything. They don't even know, like they'll ask me what they're interested in. Like, I don't know what you're interested in. You don't have any interest. They don't have any interest. It's sad. I'm going to tell you that waiting for the next generations down the line to somehow bring in this golden age, it's not going to happen. These guys need help. They're a mess. So this is where we sit here with the massive social worker problem on Earth. This is a significant, just literal square one, page one, whatever you want to call it, problem we have with finding food, finding shelter, survival on this planet. And then you have these idiots talking about raising your vibration, all that shit. It's like we have people on this planet that are struggling to pay their rent, that are just struggling, period. And that has to be addressed. So this is what I'm bringing up, and this is what Erica's bringing up, and other folks upstairs that are on our side. And I'll be honest, most of the ground crew type, the working class, off planet people upstairs and also down here get this. Like they get what's happening down here. The problem is you have these elites that have no idea what life is like when you're not living in perfection. So it's like, some of this stuff, yeah, they probably didn't understand, but then they shouldn't be where they are. And that's why many of them step down. And it's just, and that's what dragged this out. And it's at this point we're at a critical, basically not only just a survival but mental health type crisis situation on this planet, where a lot of people are just giving up because it's just too much. So um, that's what I've been pressing. So yeah, yeah, and that's what I've been pressing with them. So two things are going to happen right now. So you guys need to all do that. You guys need to be pressing with them, saying like, this is, and Erica's pressing, and we're all saying this. People are in survival mode down here. We need means of actually living. Um, that's number one. So how do you expect to roll that out? And I suspect, like I said, there's going to have to be some kind of divide, and I don't agree with this because Terrans aren't second class citizens, and they need all the assistance too. But I understand the complexity of this because, and it's just this, they waited too long. You got an entire planet where you have existential as well as philosophical road bumps in the way, because a lot of your average Terrans are so programmed that I don't know how they're going to process what it would be like to move forward into an advanced technological age. So to make that jump, that's the problem. Because it's not like some people think there's going to be some kind of magical thing. There's not going to be a magical jump. I wish there was. It's not going to be, oh, I don't know. This is some kind of thing's going to happen, and it isn't going to happen like that. Unless, because if it could happen like that, why don't they just do it? So it's this is something I always tell people to be careful of too, where there's this idea that things will roll out when your average Terran begins to understand some metaphysical process. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. You can't expect someone who's struggling for survival, who's being poisoned left and right still. I don't know why that's still going on. This is something we're going to throw out as well. This is eventually, essentially what we're looking at, and I'm glad this was mentioned the other day by one of our team upstairs. You're essentially looking at a systematic, decades-long genocide. That's what we're in right now. So not assisting the Terrans in the basic survival needs. Let's fuck that metaphysical shit. I'm sorry, folks. People you need food, you need shelter, and you need a way to live. You can't be working jobs that are soul sucking. Talk about metaphysical. You just can't do that. And your average person in the United States and in the rest of the world, it can be even worse. You go into places in India, you go into places in Asia, you go into places, different countries in Africa. It's a nightmare. That's the sin, what's happening in those places. Sure, we're miserable here, but I mean, there's people that, I mean, it's just the poverty, the suffering is unimaginable. And this is what I throw up upstairs. I'm like, you've got little kids working in the factories. You've got babies starving with flies all over them. Come on, folks. That's genocide to let that happen. And I got to watch what I say because the YouTube gods will get pissed off. So we have? Yeah, totally. Yeah, how are you supposed to move? I mean, we're at that level. It's like, Most people are at that level. How am I going to feed myself? How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to and then of course you do have the existential idea as well with that, where people are, you're working these 40, 50-hour weeks, like you have no life. What are you working for? Like it's just a hamster wheel. So I throw that up there, um, and we'll see where that goes, because I know right now that's the hiccup, is that nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. They're fine. This is why I tell people over and over again, you never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, and I know the upstairs is just as stupid, is like whenever you put somebody in control over you, I don't care who they are. This is the problem with any government. You can't have somebody making decisions for you. Because as Tolkien said correctly, he hit that ring of power corrupts everybody. The minute you give people power, you're playing a very dangerous Russian roulette. Is this person going to work in my favor or are they not? And they don't, because they're all being bought off. Because you live in a country of greed. You live in a planet of greed, and there's greed upstairs. So yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. Hello. It's just mind numbing. I mean, Anita hits the nail on the head. I mean, it's like it's absurd. It's I got mine, and not everybody's like that. Like I said, we're not like that. My husband's not like that, and most of your other people up there aren't like that. There's ETs down here. They're not like that. If you're an ET and you're working down here, you're not like that. And it seems like I feel like a lot of times we're just screaming at the wall. Or it's like, what happened to compassion? How I just don't. I literally just don't. So I don't. More leverage is being rolled out. That's one of our things. Yeah. I mean, it's just. And I think the thing that's so much frustrating, at least now we're getting a little more voice than we had before. But the thing that's frustrating is just allowing these, like you sit back and you're allowing these masters to make decisions over other people's lives. That's just gross. It's like, that's just gross. So just keep yelling, just keep complaining, and we'll see where it goes. One of the other things that we brought up is for those of you who have husbands, wives, family who are off-planet people, they're still not allowed to make contact with you here physically, right? So some of the demands was to allow for more direct contact, and we had made some you got to be clear with these people. A lot of times they don't get it, so we made some clarifications about that. What do you mean by contact? You mean physical contact? Are they going to live with us like husband and wives and families? Are they just going to like pop in like Mary Poppins every once in a while and pop out? How are they going to arrange that? So I had just one thing to say about that, because I've had contact since a child, and it messes with your life a lot. I'm just going to say, just to be aware of that. For people who think like they want contact, maybe like I have, you can have that now. You can have that. You just have to learn how to receive. And it really messes with your head. And I talk with a lot of people who have this kind. Some people are okay with it, other people not so much. Depends on who you are, right? So it like you get in this weird limbo state. So you're working. You actually it's like, if it's a romantic situation with you and a man or another woman, right? Husband or a wife, as the case may be, or a wife and a wife. Again, they have that as well. It's just weird. It's like you're not actually in a relationship with somebody, but you're in a relationship with somebody, because you can't actually do things together. You can't. I mean, it's like you can. Ika sits in the truck with me and is like, he's there, but yeah, it's just weird. I've lived my whole life in between upstairs and the earth. And I lived in the like a sliver between there. I've never was of earth, and a lot of y'all probably have experienced this. You're in this little sliver of existence in limbo between earth and upstairs. And you can't ever be in both. And you're never like fully in either. And it really, really messes with you. That's just to be aware of what that's going to feel like. So this is something I mentioned. Like, what do you mean? So you have to imagine, because you got to be careful what you concede to, because they don't give a crap, So are you right now? We don't know where we're really going because they haven't nailed anything down yet. So Vincent, if I'm married to, the sister of, oh yeah, cool, yeah, Samyasi, and she has interacted with Billy Meyer, but for some reason she won't visit me here in the UK. Okay, well, we can talk about that. So give me a call, email me, and then we'll talk, because you're in the UK. We can probably do it like a Facebook or a Zoom or something like that, and we can get onto that and see what's going on with that. See where that goes. So they're not in contact with Billy Meyer anymore. That hasn't been in a long time because it didn't work well. That everything that's like it didn't work, did it? So the age of the physical contacts, the bad guys, I don't want to give you name, 3-letter agencies, MI5, blah blah blah. They countered that so strongly. So essentially what you had was a bunch of people like ourselves who would then come out and be like, a spaceship landed in my backyard, and these people came out and they look like humans and they're really nice, and we had tea and coffee and blah blah blah. And they said, everybody laughed at you. They thought you were mentally ill. And then the 3-letter agencies all got involved. They're like, well, we're going to put the kibosh on that, because see, you have, as you know, 2 different Earth societies. You had the fake one that we live in, and then you had another one that was sort of the dark one that was run by the controllers, whatever you want to call them. And they would stop at nothing to make sure that Terrans had no idea that there was life off of this planet. And I can't get into it too much again because YouTube's going to take me down. So every single thing that you know is a story to program the world, basically, that there is no life outside this planet. That Earth is some kind of special Goldilocks zone planet that, for some reason, an amoeba turned into an elephant and all that, or all those myths, so that your average person believes that. And then, of course, groups like NASA were founded by the NAZI, and the narrative continued. So there's a very powerful narrative structure that the schools, this goes back to a guy called, if you want to, the 1900s, when it started to shift. And Harvard University was part of this, the Rockefellers and all that. So those people who are interested in law of attraction, be careful with that. Because that was the bad guys. Actually, any of that stuff really was the bad guys. Almost any of it. And they began infiltrating the school system. So you want to read a book, it's called Weapons of Mass Instructions by John Taylor Gatto. And you can just see him on YouTube too. I can actually put his name in here. This is like my class I'm teaching. When I was teaching, Taylor, John Gatto. Okay. Put this on here. Weapons. There it is. You got to see that, because that is going to be like, that's That's researched. I mean, so this guy John Gatto used to teach at a New York school, and it was a high school, and he was like, "This is just a waste of time." It's like, "What are we doing?" You know? And he went to Harvard University to find some of the papers that were disclosing the, like I said, I got to watch what I say. The infrastructure that was being built around the education system, which was to um, guide guide young people. It's all great, guys. They're all, remember, the government loves you. So it was to guide young people into a way of thinking and to become, let's see, I know, right? Like, and to become good citizens. There you go. To guide young people how to become good citizens in this economic system that we call capitalism, which is a very wonderful system. Because in the system of capitalism, you have citizens which have wonderful free will to go and purchase things so that they can be happy. Once they find their dream job, as you all are living your dream jobs, I know, you find, you go to school and you obey, because when you're in school, you have to obey your teachers, because the teachers are there to help you to succeed in life so that you will find your dream job, work your 60 hours a week, and then when you have your couple of hours of free time, you can go and spend your money and have a wonderful, fulfilled life. So the gift of the school systems, the education systems that you see in Europe and the United States and Brazil and all those other places, are all choreographed to make sure you have a wonderful life. So when John Gatto was trying to find some of these documents that were in Harvard, they were hidden, and they wouldn't show him. And he had to keep pressing and pressing and pressing, and they finally showed him. And what was in those hidden documents was something else. So it's all in that book. And also you can hear him. Why, you can tell this is all suppressed. Everything is suppressed. And wouldn't it be nice if science was actually science instead of a suppressed thing? Check out Sal Pais. I'll put his name down there. He's awesome. Anytime you can see him in an interview, he's stepping forward right now. So the Pais patents, I think Sal doesn't work for Navy anymore. I think he works for Space Force. I call it Space Force, but Space Force. Yeah. But Sal's rock star. Love that guy. But do your own stuff. Like look up things like the work of Bedini. Look up stuff like, Mr. Bearden. Those guys there's a lot of secret over Unity free energy things on TikTok, also just on YouTube too. Some people are like dig up old files, and you can find that. It's starting to see a lot of the. You got to know what to look up, and this is where we're running. This is what we're all like. Why aren't they controlling the media? Because the media would then start to air this stuff. None of this information is reaching the public. Like you guys get all this stuff because you're looking for it. But it isn't, we're not the problem. The problem is we need to get this information to the brainwashed public. I don't know how we can do that. I mean, other than what we're doing. So we're screaming upstairs because then like I'm being shadow banned and suppressed, and everybody else is being shadow banned and suppressed. Like Michael Salla was in the hospital for 2 weeks. So he's doing something. That's how you know. If you're watching somebody that's going to town and they're getting tons of views and tons of subscribers and they're never getting shadow banned or taken down or penalized, that's a red flag. Why aren't they being targeted? Because everybody's being targeted. And they're having to move to Rumble and Twitch and everything like that. So why is that? So why are some people going to town week after week after week and year after year and they're never taken down? Because they're working for them. It's a lot of people that change sides. They went Sith, as my friend Evan would say. Why are the Sith still in operation? Yeah, it's really, really, really mind numbing. So, as I mentioned before, and as Ashton mentioned, and a lot of people are mentioning, it's not the aliens that's the problem. So we want to be with our family, and that's not the problem. Honestly, I'm actually kind of like it just seems weird to me, unless you're married to like an Arcturian or an Andromedan or something like that. If you're married to any of the other ones, well, not any of the other ones, you could be a benevolent gray. That would be a problem. I mean, if you're married to like Pleiadians, Alpha Centaurians, all that, the other humans, it's like they can walk the streets. I don't understand what the big deal is. I mean, there's plenty of extraterrestrials living amongst us now. What is the big deal of us living with ours? Now, I have a unique situation because my husband, he didn't personally sign, but upstairs signed the deal with the military that the extraterrestrials that are working in the military aren't allowed to meet the public. So we're in a unique kind of glitch there. And JP's right. If you watch some of the stuff with JP, I guess he's coming forward soon. You probably know what he looks like already because you guys can remote view him, but like, you probably already met him upstairs. But he's gonna come forward, reveal himself, whatever. Not that I mean, it's a guy, whatever. But I guess there's some other military guys coming forward too. See, this is my take on this. If you just, but I don't know how it's going to work global. If you just take the military, have them step forward. People love the military because everybody had somebody in the military. World War II when the Greatest Generation and all that stuff. Everybody loves all that stuff. So they trust your average. This is what the problem is. Your average person on the street trusts the military. That's the people that got to come out, not your politicians. Nobody likes them. But if the average person on the street sees the military showing, I honestly wouldn't think they give a crap. If the military, like tomorrow, started flying around TR-3Bs, your average person isn't going to give a crap. They're going to be like, oh, that's cool. Look at that plane. Whatever, right? They're not going to say anything. Just do it. Rip off the Band-Aid. There's no other way you're going to do this. Yes, the TR-3B uses technology that's going to kind of mess with your major industrial military complex bullshit show. Somebody has to at some point. So, come on, guys. Come on, guys. You gotta. You can't keep going on as you're going on. Bring out the over unity. Show everybody. Where are the med beds? Why are they collecting dust? Eric and I were just talking about that. It was over 2 years ago that we saw these things. I saw them being rolled out. I'm going to ask him because it's okay if I asked him if they. All right. So Ika did a flip book show for me a couple of years ago on the base, and he showed me a hangar, and there was a commercial truck, 18-wheelers that were being loaded with these things. And I'm like, these are the tubes for the med beds. And then I was going to the barn one day and I got what the heck is this? I'm driving and I'm like, oh, okay. There was like hospital, it looked like a hospital. There's doctors and nurses there. And there's two hellmen in uniform. And they were delivering. They said, we're just delivering. And the doctors and nurses were all excited. They're like, oh my God, this stuff's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Because the ETs are going to have to show them how to use this, and the military will have to show them how to use this. And there's lots of people on YouTube talking about med beds and healing devices that we call them. They're going to have to learn how to use those through people who understand the process. This is not the same thing as the healing devices all the work, but you have to know what you're doing with this stuff. Um, so why aren't they rolling that stuff out? We will, just sneak it out. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, you can put some of it out. Just put it out piecemeal, right? We need to begin helping humanity cure itself of all of these diseases that they have. And the diseases affecting people, and I have to be careful again. They're caused, they're caused. A lot of okay. A lot of these things are extraterrestrial. They're not natural. They've been put over humanity over many thousands of years, actually. Different things. Different things to make you not yourself. Um, I very he's with me. I'm just gonna like, take the channel. What do you Yeah, they're like I have to they're not natural, you know, they're caused. And we're also dealing with significant issues in see, like when you're born here, we don't have the proper nutrition. Like even if you eat right, because obviously you want to eat right, that goes but the stuff in the food, the nutrition's not there. So you're already growing up in a way because like people ask why do they look so different? Like why do they look, like they do? It's because they have all the good food and they when you're growing up on a different planet, you don't have nutritional deficiency. So the children are growing up fine. Like, uh, issues with your teeth is specifically I come from the what you eat. I mean like when you're growing up, they don't have issues with their teeth because when you're again, when you're forming teeth, all of the nutrition is there so that you don't have those problems. And all of that stuff obviously is put into place to provide a constant supply of customers to the different types of industries that assist in those things. You know what I mean? It's like we gotta start having our own language just so that we can say this stuff. I keep getting harassed actually here in Massachusetts. Like, is Massachusetts law? They're trying to put a smart meter on my house, and I just like fuck you. Like, I don't answer the phone and they call like every other day. It's like this recorded thing, like every 7 years you got to change it. Yeah, you can change or whatever. You ain't putting that shit on my house. It's my house, and I'll tell you what you put on it. It's like this is what see. We've gotten some of the cognitive breakdown. So what they were doing. This is why I always warn people about the passive stuff. The love and light passivity. If you just like go with the flow and the frequency, it's not that's not how that's gonna that doesn't work like that. And hi, here comes the cat. She might come. Let's see. Dreamy. Yep. There we go. There we go. Party time. Here we go. Here's herself. Here's herself. Um sometimes you have to stand. I mean, this is what the ETs, the real ETs, this is what the real ETs have been screaming at humanity. It's like, you guys got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to fight. You got to fight. So I'll get a click for that. Now they're like, oh, you said something about fighting and that's all wrong. I'm like, okay. And it's nuts because what the bad guys did was affect people's ability to have that capacity. So they've messed with the prefrontal cortex. This has been going on for a while, and I oftentimes show a photo to people, and I actually showed it on here before. from Bill Tompkins. So it's not Bill Tompkins' photo. He actually picked this photo up. So it's of a Draco craft tankers basically, and they're spraying this area of California to, and it was the area where they were working with like high tech and things like that, beginnings of high tech before they actually get to that. So this stuff they were spraying was affecting the prefrontal cortex, so it would keep people passive, and that's what you see now. And I see it in the students and everything. Like people just can't stand up for themselves. They just can't. They literally can't. And you can see that if you talk to some people and you try to, like, I have a friend who goes around spewing this stuff everywhere. And some people get it and other people just can't. They cannot process it. Their brains glitch. It's not normal. So it isn't like you have a normal conversation with somebody. You can see it. So I don't know if you guys go around talking about, trying to get people to understand what's happening. And you can see some people right away, they're like, oh my God, yeah, right. I'm totally on board with you. I've always been thinking this and I had a feeling this stuff wasn't right and all that stuff. So there's like those people. But then there's other people and like they're like their brains glitch, like, what are you doing? You're on oh my God, I'll be banned for this now. Lewd and lascivious behavior. My God, look at this. Wouldn't you? What the? All right, anyway. Hard to top that. Yeah, it's the real. It's real. So these you can see these people, and you're like, the CNN watchers, on all TV. I don't care if you watch Fox, CNN. It's all, don't watch that. Well, some people watch it to get and see what's going on, whatever. But what kind of lies are being spewed. But they can't get it in their heads. Like, you just can't, like, all of my family woke up instantly. Like they're like, boom, they got it, Yeah, I mean, my mother, when she's 90, well, another week she'll be 93, and she drives and everything. And she went to I don't know why she goes to the doctor. These people are a waste of time. But anyway, she goes there. And he told me I got to get a flu shot and a COVID shot. And I'm like, nah. So I had to like let her. I'm like, nah. Like, he said it. But he said I should get that. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they get paid for that. I'm like, and I can't, like I said, I can't say it on here. But I told her, like, you're nuts. So my mom would get I'm just going to say this. Here, I can explain to you. For the past few years until recently, my mom would go because the doctor said to her, you need to get the F shot, or the F thing. The F, the thing that disappeared during COVID? You can go on the CDC and look it up. And all of a sudden during COVID, the F disappeared for like a year or more. Like, where did it go? So she didn't get that anymore. So before, when she would go and get that, she would actually have neurological effects after. Like, she couldn't speak. It's almost like a stroke. And I finally, like, at first it happened, we're like, oh, what the fuck is this? That's not good, right? So, but it would clear up. And then it would never happen again. And then the next year when I started to put two and two together. And then it was like, it would be like several days after she got that, the language problem, like, she literally couldn't speak. Like, literally, like stroke systems. Right. So she went back to the doctor and she told him, like, dude, like, every time I get the thing, I have this. I'm like, that's not going to be like brain swelling or something. So usually if you have trouble finding words and can't speak, that's like not a normal thing. But this doctor was like, oh, no, that's okay. Like, that means it's working. Like, so having brain swelling and like stroke symptoms means your thing is working. Yeah. So anyway, we stopped that. I'm like, you need to like not do that. And she stopped. And yeah, and people are just like, yep. So crazy shit. But yeah. So if you go back, I'm actually going to try to promote this one. Let's see what happens so that I can link people to the other one that we did talking about some of the moves that are happening upstairs because I want more people to see that. I know a lot of people have been talking on other channels. I kind of go around a little bit and they're saying, what the hell is going on? There's nothing going on. And it's like, well, yeah, there's nothing going on because they don't know what they're doing. So there's a bunch of extraterrestrials that are kicking things into motion so that we're not having this. So they know obviously that I just got fucked over by the bad guys and other people are getting it. Why is that still happening? Because they were supposed to stop that. So if they stopped it, these things wouldn't still be happening. Why are some of these operatives still working? Well, we have to find out why that is, and we need to put a stop to that. So anyway, my email is there on that last podcast that we did. That was a regular podcast, not a live. So contact me through there, and we'll help you with some of the stuff that's going on with your family and also with your upstairs, not your house, not your home. I can't open that. That's your piss. And with your ET family and any kind of targeting that you have. More than likely, if you're being targeted, like it's not normal. Okay. So if you're having mood issues or things like that, that's probably not the regular stuff. If any of it is for anyone. It's more likely you're, MyLab and all that stuff. So we can help you with like dealing with that and try to get that fixed the best we can. They're still doing it. Why are they still doing it? But at least we can try to create a community here as a resource for folks. And I want you on the show anyway. Come on and chat. Come on and talk. With us here on this channel, because this is your channel. This is not a look at me channel. This is your channel. I just had to come on to kind of explain some of the stuff because I know a lot of people are having the same events happening for them, and we're trying to mitigate a lot of the daily life problems that folks are having here as well. We got that on the roll upstairs. One thing I just want to say, and I hate to be the messenger of this, but please don't put your life on hold. Do what you got to do. Don't wait for them. They're doing all they can. You know how that is. But, when you expect somebody else to come in and save you, you're giving away your power. So don't give away your power to other people. Or if you need to do stuff to survive, if you need to get a job, get a job. If you need, and I hate to say that, but I mean, realistically, that's what you got to do, right? That's what we do here on this planet. So you need to do what you need to do to survive. I regret looking back a lot of, and that's what I signed up for. It's just one life. I have many lives. I'll have, I don't know if I want to have any lives after this. A lot of people don't want to have lives anymore. They're like, that's it. This is this fucking thing. It messes with you, so my whole life was weird and I was never normal and I can never fit in and I can never have a normal life. And he stopped me from having any relationships because I only love him. And like, how can you love somebody else? So I'm asexual down here because I can't be with anybody else. So I never had that experience. So you guys all have your crosses to bear as well, different levels of things. And for many of you, that now you never were on a Terran and that you're from another place. And that's what really created problems throughout your entire existence. And many of you were targeted. So you couldn't get a job because they would make sure you didn't get a job. And that happens too. And I had that problem and other people have that problem too. So that's what we're throwing upstairs. It's like, how are we supposed to find work and get jobs when we're being targeted so that we can't find work and get jobs? What do you want us to do? Like, you got to have a job here. You got to have money to survive. So you give us a solution to that problem, because when we go to find a job, we can't get one because we're already blocked. I don't know. So, these are all the things. So scream upstairs, scream up, say that, you're sitting in your room, or say it in public so people look at you and think you're crazy and stay away from you. So if you're, in the woods or alone, you're like, hey guys, I'm doing all these things. I'm trying to fix my life. I'm trying to do the A, B, C, and D. Um, and this, that, or the other is going on, and it's not working for me. If you have a health issue, a lot of people have health issues as well. Why do they have health issues? Why do people have health issues? Why can't you assist in that? Demand that they assist you with your health issues. Fix this. I got this problem. They're not fixing it here. You see poor Erica going through what she's going through. And a lot of people have health problems because of the MyLabs and MK Ultra and all that stuff. Mess with them bad. So I think it's only fair that that gets fixed. So scream and yell. Remember, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So keep squeaking. That's what. Yeah. So anyway, it was great coming live, guys. Something I haven't done in a while. So that's where we are. And keep you posted if there's anything else that's happening. And like I said, reach out to us, and definitely want to have you on the show. So, all right. Have a great St. Patrick's Day and a St. Patrick's Eve. See you guys.